Blessings, beautiful souls, Sarava, and I share to you. How are you today? It is so nice to be looking into your beautiful smiling faces. Today is Monday, or Moon Day, depending on how you like to word your weekly systems. So, I've actually got Monday-itis today. Like, I don't know what's going on. I've been told that Saturn is doing something exciting. Gordon reached out to me today to give me like a little astrology information, and I'm just like, well, that explains it. So I'm really low on energy today, but you know, let's get it done because I've got quite a bit on my plate. But as I look down the barrel of this entire week, I've got eye specialist appointments, I've got accounting appointments, I've got, you know, kids kind of activity appointments, and I also have the responsibility of booking a really nice escape for me for my 40th birthday, which is taking place on the 8th of May. And so I'm looking at going to Cradle Mountain for a couple of days just for a long weekend and having a really nice time. I also need to get my hair done. I just really want to get my hair done. I haven't had it done for ages. It needs a cut, it needs a color, it needs all that kind of good stuff, and I want to do something different. I'm growing it out at the moment. When I started on YouTube, I had hair that I could sit on, and I'm going back to that exact type of situation hair-wise. But growing out a pixie, which is exactly what I'm doing, has been a tedious process because I have gone through those waves of, oh, let me cut it again, or let me grow it, let me cut it, let me do a concave bob, I like the bob, I like the fringe, I like the, you know, you yo-yo with hair a bit. Anyways, I'm committed to this growth path and I need to be able to do something with my hair. Nevertheless, I've got to get into the cottage. I've got Snowy here with me. The wind's just picked up. I've got a few things to do. The architect arrives today to talk about the house that we are planning on building here. And it's just such a busy week and I just don't want to adult. Do you ever have those days where you're just like, nah, I'm not going to adult today? Well, that's me. I even went for a brisk morning walk with the family through the path that we cut yesterday in the forest, and that was really nice, and I thought that that would invigorate me. I took a little tea with me in my hand and that's what I did. But I walked back and I felt more tired than when I went out to begin with. So, all right, well, I've got readings to do and I'm going to do those readings first, and then I'm fighting with the printer regarding the bone stone, which is a story for another time. Perhaps I'll do the newsletter today as well, get really productive, and then I've got a tasty new deck. If you saw me share images of the new Lucy Cavendish and Amy Brown deck by Blue Angel, then you will know that I have a new deck that I purchased at the Wishing Well in Hobart CBD on the weekend. So I might be unboxing that today. How about that? That seems like a good reward for the work that I have to do before all of that takes place. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so the time has come to unbox this beautiful deck that I acquired on the weekend. I'm so excited. I flipped out because I didn't even know that Lucy Cavendish had made a new deck, let alone made a deck with such a popular artist, which is... Where is her name? Where is her name listed? Wait, here we go. Amy Brown. So if you are familiar with Amy Brown, then you will know that she has been creating beautiful fairy paintings and artworks for a really long time. I first discovered her when I joined Etsy some like 5 years ago, and as such was really taken by her style. And she has such a whimsical way of capturing an image of fairies that I got so excited when I saw this. I'm like, wait a minute, am I, what, you know, that type of moment. And I spoke to the beautiful girl at the Wishing Well in Hobart, and she said it's only been out for 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, you haven't. Anyways, without further ado, let's hook in and see if we can unbox this gently. If there is such a thing as a gentle unboxing. So this deck cost me $34.95. which is pretty much the standard price of a Blue Angel deck. Okay, first impressions, unboxing first impressions. The front of the box itself is matte. You have some spot gloss kind of font there, and then the sides are quite glossy, and then you have the matte there as well. Quite a nice selection of like textures really. So the box is matte and the writing is glossy. And so you get to see on the back here that there are quite a few different images, and that's pretty damn exciting, quite frankly. Hopefully that's still in focus. I don't know how close I can get before it goes out of focus. Really should test that. So that is the cover, and it says Fairy Blessing Cards, Healing Gifts and Shining Treasures from the Realm of Enchantment. Lucy Cavendish, who, as we know, loves to do the whimsical decks. So this is a Blue Angel deck, in case you did not know. And I haven't opened up a Blue Angel deck. That's a nice petition page. Inside of the box, nice green. Blue Angel does really good sturdy boxes. If this is your first time watching a Blue Angel unboxing, you've never heard of them before, please know that you can store your decks in a Blue Angel box. They do such a good job. They're very protective. And here is the guidebook. Oh my gosh, look at that. Dying over here, just dying. All right, so we have the guidebook. Beautiful artwork. Look at that. Really whimsical, really enchanting. It's 123 pages. And here's some of Lucy Cavendish's other decks. So Foxfire, the Kitsune Oracle, and then Alice in Wonderland Oracle. She's famous for teaming up with Jasmine Beckett Griffith. You will know some of her decks. Amy Brown, here's a little bit about the artist Amy Brown, and you'll get to know who she is a little bit more. And you can also go to amybrownart.com if you would like to look into Amy Brown and her beautiful narrative of work. And then here we have about the author, Lucy Cavendish. And it's true, she is an internationally acclaimed spiritual author and intuition expert, amongst many, many other things. And so you have these beautiful black and white illustrations and beautiful font. Oh, just really nice layout. It's tasty. The book feels really bendy. Like the paper in it it's nice. It's really nice and kind of like earthy and natural. I feel like I want to compare it to another Blue Angel deck just for that reason. Let's do that, in fact, just a second. Right, so here's the Whispers of Lord Ganesh Oracle. And very, very glossy. This is a very high gloss deck. Very criticized deck too, mind you. But see what I mean? Yeah, I thought that was different. You can actually see that the paper itself is really different. Like the colors of the pages, this one is far more creamy and ivory. This is a very bleached white. I'm hoping there's an eco-friendliness to that paper, and I'm wondering if it actually does say anything in the book about the paper. Would also be a good idea to go and check with Blue Angel, I suppose. It's just such a beautiful book. Like, look at it. Just look at it. Everything about it. I love it. I love it. Oh, we've got some spreads here. We've got some spreads. Here we have the Wheel of the Year spread, a classic. Then we have the 7-pointed star reading. Sometimes that's called the Fairy Star spread. And here we have the Triple Fairy Goddess spread. I love me a 3-card spread. So let's have a look at what she's got here. Oh, I see. The Maiden Fairy Goddess, the Mother Fairy Goddess, the Crone Fairy Goddess. So she's just dressed that up. All it is a Maiden Mother Crone spread. Are there any others? No, that's about it. Oh, you've got a little devotional here by the knot. Okay, I don't want to say anything too out loud. You never know what kind of little spirit you'll call. Yeah, okay, so we've got a little poetry, we've got a little incantation, a little dedication. Yeah, nice little book. Right, that aside, let us have a look now. So, without even fanning the deck, I can tell that it's multicolored cards. So not all cards are colored the same. The borders are different. You can actually tell that from about here. And look what I mean. There we go. So, oh, nice cardstock. Well done. And very beautiful matte finish. This is the back. Look at the back. Isn't it beautiful? Do you think this is beautiful? It's so lovely. I love me some like green. So nice. Very, very nice. I'm very, very taken by that. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We start off with this gorgeous, magnificent card here. Look at the wings of this fairy. Look at how statuesque. Her dress is floating out into little butterflies, and she's card number 1. A blessing of the Seelie. Oh, and then we have the Unseelie. I like this. So we have the fairy dichotomy right here. Really nice. Blessing of the Butterfly Queen. Very whimsical. A blessing of Rapture. Oh, look at this one. Oh, yes. Capturing that warrior fairy goddess type of feel. Just absolutely beautiful. I love this card. Blessing of Silliness. Is it silliness or stillness? Maybe it's stillness. The font, it's a tricky one to read. Maybe it's stillness, not silliness. She doesn't actually look like she's being silly there. Blessing of Amid, okay. Blessing of Movement. I think they could have captured movement a bit better. Ayan. Beautiful. She has a crescent moon tattoo on her butt cheek. Nice touch there, nice touch. And this is an image that speaks to the inner child. Look at that fairy floss pink hair and fairy floss pink wings. It's just such a whimsical card. Really speaks to that inner child aspect. I know my girls would love this card. Blessing of Connection. I do love that. Blessings of the Shining Ones. Interesting. Blessings of Arwen. Oh, I like that they've included Arwen. I would have chosen something far different for Arwen. I would have chosen something more well-like, more cauldron-like. Yes. A Blessings of Nature. That's beautiful. It holds that green woman, real fairy forest feel, as though the spirit of the fairy is emerging from the forest features itself, like a really beautiful one. Lots of green in that one. Blessings of the White Bark, I'm going to go ahead and say. And in case the camera's not picking up, there are faces in the bark of the tree. And stag, very elvish looking. A blessing to undo an unfortunate what? I can't even read that. See, the font makes it really difficult. Now I have to know, what's 15? Is that an O? A geese? A grease? I don't know. I don't know what it is. What's the word? Moving on anyway. Blessings of Elf Locks. That's cool. I actually have a friend who, when we first met, her hair looked something similar to this. And she ran a little business called Dracondreds and Fairy Locks, spelled in the most curious way.
A blessings of the green. Blessings of the sight. That's beautiful. So it speaks of moon, it speaks of intuition, it speaks to connection, spirit, third eye, psychic gifts. Beautiful. A blessing of dreams, so a dream walker. A blessings of glamour. This color palette in this card right here is everything to me. Like that color palette, can we just talk about that just a little bit? Oh, I love that. The oranges, the reds, the deep purples. Just, it's all there. It's all there. Blessing of the Beltane Dew. So we have another one of those personified forest fairies. A blessings from the ever young. Just beautiful. A gift of laughter. Oh, I love it. There she is again. Pink hair, pink wings. A blessing of the wild within. Very winter, very Biara, Queen of Winter in a fairy form. The blessings of power. Now that speaks of like underworld power. Look at that kind of rippling vine-like stark branches and just the red and the steely blue, and oh yeah, there's a lot of power to that. Blessings of the mother. That's interesting. Gift of sharing. Blessings of the liminal space. I like that, but I would have chosen a different card for the liminal space. Blessings of time. It's quite autumn-esque. A blessings of Lilith. Love it. Love it. Just love it. This is not how I personally see Lilith, but I quite like this. Blessings of the grouping fae. Not sure. Growing fae. Not sure. Not sure. Again. The blessings of stability. Yeah, stability maybe. And that's quite nice. You've got a fairy meditating on a can. Blessings of fairy magic. That's beautiful. And it's a bit of a shout out to practical magic when young Sally holds the bowl out under the light of the full moon, casting her true love spell as a child. Very nice. A blessing of Bridget's flame. Blessing of belief. A blessing of healing. A blessing of Anamkara, I should say. Beautiful. That is stunning. That is stunning. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. A blessing of the heart's calling. A blessing from Queen Marley. That is beautiful as well. The colours used, the way that the artist depicts her colours makes her brights look iridescent, and there is no spot glossing, there is no actual iridescence to the printing process itself, but the colour, the way she does it, it makes it look iridescent. So my hat's off to the artist for that little gift. A blessing of clear foresight. Blessing of fairy guardian. Blessing of light touch. A blessing of being understood. Indeed. It's beautiful. A blessing of safe place in the world. Interesting. And lastly, a blessing from a fairy determined to help you. And that is each card. There we have it. Just for you to look at.
Okay, card slingers, this little bit of the video is specially for you. So the first part was the vlog that I've released on YouTube. This second part is just for you. So let's have a bit of a chat about this new deck. This is, of course, as we know, Fairy Blessings card by Lucy Cavendish. First of all, the back of this deck is absolutely beautiful. The matte finish is absolutely beautiful. The multi-coloured cards, very typical of Lucy Cavendish, and in many cases Blue Angel as well. But the artwork, Amy Brown artwork, has always fascinated me. It's really touched me on a deeply personal inner child type of way. I've always looked at some of her images. Not all of her images have sort of taken me by storm, but I've looked at some of her images and just felt totally validated in how I see Faery from time to time. Just the energy that she's captured, not necessarily the physical attributes, if that makes sense. Another person that does that really well, capturing the energy and the essence, and in some cases the physical attributes, is... Let me see if I can find his deck. Oh, can I find his deck? Hold on just one second. This one here. Mr. Brian Froud and Miss Wendy Froud as well. So if you didn't know, Brian Froud actually created all the whimsical characters in A Dark Crystal, which is a classic 80s TV show for children that would not be allowed to be a TV show today because it's freaking scary. Nevertheless, my children have seen it. One of my Coven sisters gifted the movie to them some years ago. They were like, oh, and now they're like, we love it. And I'm like, of course you do. It's amazing. And so he is another one that really personifies deity. He is another one that really personifies Faery and the Fae in a way that I completely connect with. So just honorable mention there. Now, I do believe that Lucy Cavendish curated this deck from pre-existing artwork, and that happens quite a bit. It's rarer now that artwork is being made specifically for decks, especially in this capacity. Like, I find that there are those who really want to work with prominent artists, but they don't have like $250,000 to, you know, borrow the artist and have them make unique art pieces specifically for a deck, because when you think about it, it could be anything between 50 to 78 cards when you're you know, when you're hiring an artist to do their deck for you. And so it can be a very costly endeavor, in which case many go out there and they find artists online that don't have any exposure, and some that do, of course, and they look through the artwork and they see if they can actually put together a deck from pre-existing artwork, and then, you know, they go about it that way. And so what you'll see here is a lot of artwork that you might already be familiar with. It's absolutely beautiful artwork. Amy Brown does incredible artwork, but it's young. It's young artwork for a younger person. And when I say person, I'm not talking about age here, just like inner youth here. So that there are some cards in here that I think absolutely amazing. There are some cards here that make me think that this is a deck for my children, if that makes sense. And so I'm still going to keep this as part of my Lucy Cavendish collection, but I do think that it suits a more youthful personality and the type of individual that really enjoys seeing Faery personified in this particular way. Now, there are many ways that I like to see Faery personified, and I have no qualms with the way that they are personified in this particular deck, but there are ways that I like to see Faery that it leans more into Brian Froud. And so he, to me, is the king of Faery decks. He and his wife, Wendy. The books in those decks, they are absolutely beautiful. They're hardbound covers, and I don't know, it's just a different look, a different feel, and I really feel like he sees them. And it's not fantasy art, it's his version of reality, and that is something that is conveyed to me through his artwork. Whereas this deck, not that this is meant to be a comparison between, you know, Brian Froud, Wendy Froud and Amy Brown artwork, because that's not what it is at all. Art is different depending on who is channeling the muse, of course, and there is just so many Faery decks and books and images out there, and there's always the favorites, the ones that you will feel are the favorites. And many of Amy Brown's were my favorite. When I first looked through her body of art, there were quite a few that I went, wow, like that is amazing. That is absolutely beautiful. And then there were those where I'm like, nah, I think she missed the mark on that one a little bit. But that's just my own critiquing, and as such shouldn't be taken very seriously. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It's just personal perspective, and art is very subjective, and so personal perspective does play a huge role in how we view art and how we receive our art. When I say our art, you know what I mean. So I'm gonna shuffle, 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 and I'm finding this, it's doing something weird. The bowing a bit. Okay. A blessing of clear foresight. Here we go, a blessing of clear foresight. So being that this is the very first card that I have drawn from the deck, I'm going to go into the guidebook and see what the guidebook has to say. And this is card number 40 here. A blessing of clear foresight. The fairy gift of knowing what is likely to come from the dimensions we humans call the future. Interesting way of putting it. A gift is given this day, friend to you, a blessing of the fairies true. This gift is that of long vision, the ability to see the consequences of actions taken in the present, and indeed the outline of decisions of the past. With this blessing of clear foresight, you may be blessed with the ability to see the lasting influence of what it is you choose to do. What will you be granting to the future of this world, to the children, to the ones who come after? May you understand, therefore, that what would be best for you to do, not only for your own self, though it is good and right for you to think of yourself, but of what is best for those who you love and for those who come after us. For the fairies love long and see many a human unable to contemplate beyond their own needs, and, in the moment, unthinking of consequences, create a future they do not wish to inhabit fully. With this amazing fairy gift, the enchanted ability to see further into the dimensions of time, you will make the best decisions for yourself now, and for the future of others. Time unfurls before you, a green scroll unwritten upon, but one upon which you can see what could come. That's convoluted. Take this blessing and use it wisely, for the fae, for the human children, and for the betterment of your own precious self. Fairy blessings of the long foresight to you, friend. And that's it. No affirmation, no little ritual. It's just pretty straightforward and very whimsically written. I think the language, the prose is really flowery, and I think she's really stepped into a much more whimsical space with her language, because I have a few Lucy Cavendish decks, and she likes to sort of like rise to the occasion and match the theme of her decks. So very whimsical, very flowery, a little bit convoluted. I do have gripes on the font that is chosen, because it's not very easy to read. I mean, some of you might have a really great and easy time of reading the font, but for the most part it is so whimsical, it is so detailed that it becomes a little bit hard to read. So that's my only qualm. The printing in the book itself is fine. I really love the black and white representations in the book, and that to me is a strong plus. I love the way that they sort of just fade into being. And so the language, the font in the deck all matches the theme quite nicely. And as for the deck itself, I find that it's going to fit those who have a really whimsical view of what fairy is. I have a more primal view as to what fairy is, and like I said before, Brian Froud really kind of nails it for me as far as fairy goes. But even saying that, I'm yet to meet a person that depicts fairy in the way that I really see it, in the type of energy, in the type of structure, in the, you know, just the way that I see it at the end of the day. And I'd really love it if you could tell me if you have a fairy deck where the artist has managed to truly capture what fairy is to you, and then let me know, so perhaps I can check that out. But all in all, I'm very, very happy to have my hands on this deck. I think that it's going to make a great deck for Litha, and as such, I have a few decks here that I like to reach for at Litha, but I'm feeling like I might just populate my altar and shelves with fairy decks come this Litha. Just all of my fairy decks, which could be quite the challenge as far as readings go. But there you have it. That is my honest look and, you know, first impressions of the Fairy Blessing cards by Lucy Cavendish with artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Is this deck going to suit everyone? No, it's not. For some, this is just going to be a bit too whimsical, a little bit too flowery, a little bit too young in the way that it's depicted, and that's totally fine. And we all have different tastes. Some of us, we prefer a much more mature depiction. Others prefer a much more whimsical depiction. Age has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just simply the spirit of the person within. So if this is not your cup of tea, that's totally fine as well. But it is something that I'm looking forward to adding to my collection because it is unique, it is different, and I've always admired Amy Brown artwork. So to have, you know, 45 essentially, is that how many cards are in here? I didn't even say. I did not even say. Yeah, 45 cards. That's right. To have 45 unique pieces of her artwork, well, that's a gift in and of itself. So there we have it, beautiful souls. That was a little add-on just for you card slingers for this Fairy Blessing cards by Lucy Cavendish, artwork by Amy Brown. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And let me know if the card that I drew actually spoke to you in some way, because it started to speak to me in a little way, I must admit. So let's see how we go. Mwah! Take care, beautiful card slingers. I'll be speaking to you soon.